Hello and welcome to KerbalVision. Today we are going to be doing a mission to Ike, but not just a mission to Ike, we are also going to be returning from Ike, which I didn't do in my last KSP2 video, or my last KSP2 video when we went to Ike. So, here as you can see we are doing the build time lapse, and as you can see I was putting on some aerospark engines. It didn't seem to really change the delta V much, but I didn't put them on there, and I'm glad because I only had a few meters per second of delta V left once I got back to Kerbin. So anyway, so here's the lander slash what's going to get us there and get us back home. Putting in a decoupler there, heat shield, which doesn't really need to be there since KSP2 doesn't have heat physics yet, but it's there just for the realism aspect of it. And here where you can see I'm naming the craft Minmus 2 because I was originally going to take this to Minmus, but I figured that it had enough delta V to get to Ike, so I made this an Ike mission. So anyway, as you can see here, I was just tightening those, like making them hard. I like them when they're harder because when they're soft it seems to bounce it more funnily, so I usually just set it at maximum everything. Anyway, now I'm putting on some drogue chutes and some ordinary parachutes onto the rocket, so of course we don't go crashing into the ground the Kerbal way. And yeah, so now we're going to attach the fairing to the to go around the rocket. And yeah, so another thing, at the launch of this vessel, I will be probably not the best things, but I am going to have a few little tips for KSP2 just to help things out if you need it. But anyway, so far I am just strutting everything down because I forgot to do that before, and I'm not sure if I like the color work. I think it looks okay. Anyway, now with all of that out of the way about the mission, I can start getting lazier and have a worse commentary from now on, so I'm very excited for that. Anyway, I did change that engine there right now to a, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's tuber engine. Anyway, it's the one with the extendable nozzle, so using that for the upper stage. Just add a little extra delta V, and add the 9 vector engines. I'm starting to use vector engines more just because the Mammoth engine seems to make your rocket a lot more flip happy, whereas the vectors, they've got bigger, well, like, oh my goodness, I forgot what it's called now. Oh dear. Anyway, like, you know what I mean, they can control a rocket much better. Anyway, adding a few little side boosters there. I don't think they made much difference, but with the amount of fuel we were short on, I'm glad I put them there. So yeah, this mission was a very tight budget, but yeah, so I'm sure people would be able to get this mission done probably with more delta V remaining, but at least in the current state of KSP2 I couldn't do the mission quite that efficiently, so yeah. Anyway, now we're going to strut these SRBs to the side of the rocket and crossfade in a second to the what the rocket looks like, in case the nauseating movement of the camera didn't quite show up properly. And you may also notice it looks kind of funny with the rocket moving in the middle, and that is because well, it's just the editing software. I tried to smooth it because it wasn't very smooth in the other end. So anyway, here we are at launch, and we have liftoff of our rocket. I probably should start naming my rockets. So yeah. Anyway, now we are going up, and I got this nice little shot with the camera tools. Well, not a mod, but like as in just with the normal camera tools built into KSP2. And yeah. So now what was I going to say? I had a line in my head. Oh, that's right. Now for a few little tips and tricks in KSP2. So, in KSP2, if you have terrible frame rates, like I usually have, what you can do to make the frame rates better is basically, I don't know why this works, and it probably won't work in future, but for the current version of the game it seems to work. If you're having terrible frame rate, all you need to do with your rocket is right before you launch it, just time up to the next day, turn off the time warp, and I have no idea why it works, but it seems to smooth out the frame rate by a lot. I don't know why it works, but it seems to work. Anyway, now we are going to deattach the SRBs, as I forget my English, and slowly ascend our way through Kerbin. And I'm also probably going to stop making such like cinematic videos in KSP2 from now on, just because I'm feeling a little bit bored with all the cinematic-y stuff, so I'm probably going to just leave the UI on from now on, since the UI is pretty small. Anyway, there we are, extending the engine, and I still can't remember its name, and we're deploying the fairings there as they should deploy, and extending the solar panels, and yes. So, now we are going to begin our burn to orbit, and yeah, so that's basically that mission, getting into orbit. So, I could probably stop saying all the time too, if that is if I haven't quite cut it out. Anyway, here we are beginning our burn to intercept, our orbit line to intercept Juno, and as you can see, the background of KSP2 looks really good. And also some other things, I've heard about a lot of people saying in KSP2 that KSP2 will never be a good game because it started out terrible, and sure, it might be the worst early access game ever, but I do feel that it is capable of being an amazing game. You see, in all the other videos, they actually show off what the game looks like, and they obviously, not all of it, some of it was definitely animated, but I think a lot of it was actually in the game, so it's all there. All they're doing at the moment is just tweaking everything to be right and getting all the bugs cleaned out and stuff, like some of the massive bugs which we've never experienced. So I think KSP2 does have the ability to be an amazing game. You may disagree, that's okay. And anyway, here we are arriving at Ike after talking over the burn for decelerating at Juno. That's what makes it a little bit interesting, because I get into an orbit around Juno, then I take my orbit out to Ike, which is what uses up a lot more fuel than you need to be, rather than just getting a straight intercept with Ike. Anyway, now I need to catch my breath, and as you can see, we're about to land in one of the craters, and in case you haven't already noticed, there is a funny thing which we forgot back on Kerbin, which will become quite apparent when we land, and plant the flag. So now here we are having fun trying to get my trying to get myself to land on the crater or volcano. It'd be awesome if the devs added like an actual volcano, like made it a proper volcano. Anyway, now we are beginning to decelerate yet again. The reason I was going to add the aero spikes, as I said in the build, was because, well, I was worried that I wouldn't have enough thrust to weight ratio, but we had plenty because we used up a lot of the fuel on the way, so I'm glad I didn't add them. Anyway, now that we've extended the landing gear, we're going to have a little bit of a bouncy landing. Not the most landing you could ever be proud of, but it kind of worked. I don't know how it worked, but there's this funny issue with the SAS that sometimes, because I had that targeting retrograde when I was coming in there, but it didn't stay retrograde when I landed. I think it's some funny bug that when you're about to touch the ground, the SAS turns off, which is kind of annoying, because sometimes when you're landing, so I don't think that anyone else really ever does this, but sometimes I do it, I'll just set the rocket to be facing like directly up in SAS, and when I come down on land, I imagine it that when I touch the ground and I need to correct something, that it points straight back upwards, but it doesn't. It tips over and starts flying sideways and everything, which hopefully they fix up in the next big patch kind of update. Hopefully in the next update they'll add some really awesome features like, let's see, maybe new parts like stational parts. That'd be really awesome for the next update. And yeah, now that we've actually got touchdown on Ike a little bit more successfully, we will deploy the solar panels, and I'm just trying to rotate the ship around a little bit just so I can get a cool thumbnail shot. So yes, now we are going to get our Kerbal out, and you can see I've got enough Delta V to get back to Kerbin. Only thing is that it wasn't the most efficient way to get out, and since the maneuver node planner is quite like not very accurate, it did take some extra burning and some different works, which was kind of annoying. But oh well. Now we are going to, I was just trying to figure out the thumbnail shot. That was not the thumbnail shot, but I was trying to figure out what the thumbnail shot would be. Anyway, now we're going to do the most important part of any mission, which is to plant the flag. Now, the Kerbal Space Agency now officially owns Ike. So, yeah. Actually, I'm starting about... Now, you can see here, this is where we forgot our extra Kerbal. We only sent Bob there. So, poor old Bob's gonna have a terrible time going back, very lonely, and the other crew back at Kerbin will be wondering why the spaceship hasn't gone to the launch pad yet. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say before. Oh yes, I'm thinking about doing some new KSP2 mission. I'm not sure if it will ever get finished, kind of like how Matt Lau never finishes his series, or rarely finishes his series. I was thinking about doing a mission where we send a rover to every moon and planet in the game, of course except Jewel, and of course the Sun or Kerbal, and of course Kerbin, but just send them to all these different planets and see what we could do. Maybe try just do that. It'd be interesting, or I could do like a colonizing Juno thing. I know Marvin was gonna do a video on a KSP2 mission colonizing. I think it was. I can't remember what it was called actually. And here we are getting our burn out into an orbit around Juno. Now I didn't show the whole entire thing just because it was really boring and I was still trying to go for the cinematic approach. And this is the very reason why I was trying to, which I'm not going to probably ever do, KSP2 cinematics again, because it was very difficult with cinematic because you can't actually see what's happening and it gets quite annoying. Anyway, I did do some corrections but I didn't show it. And here we are arriving back at Kerbin, and if you've made it this far in, I'd love to ask you if you would appreciate it. There's a little button down there which you can use to like the video. There's a little button there to subscribe to the channel, a little red button. It's red if you haven't subscribed already, so if you'd like to do that, that'd be great. And anyway, you can see there I had a little bug where the frame rate dropped. And yeah, anyway, back to the likes thing. Promotion. If you're going to dislike this video, because I know I'm only starting to get into YouTube, I don't know how dislikes will work, but if you are going to dislike this video, if I don't particularly mind people disliking, but it'd be nice if you could also comment what you don't like about the video. I won't take down the comment, and yeah, it'd just be nice to know what the problem is that you don't like about the video, so I can improve upon it, because a dislike doesn't really tell me much. Anyway, now that is pretty much the mission wrapped up. There'll be a video of mine on screen, a link to subscribe to my channel, and a link to subscribe to Marvin's channel, and also go and check out Zenith KSP's channel. He does some pretty awesome KSP videos. Anyway, I will see you in the next one.